Sonic X Comic Issue 34. We start out in media res with Sonic in the same pool as Eggman about to get dunked. Sonic in a pool. At least the maid is scared and Tails is being chased by Eggman's robots, so it's not implying that Eggman, the international terrorist who tried to destroy Station Square, is allowed to enjoy a pool party with Chris's family every day. We then flash back to the other day, where Sonic shows Chris a newspaper, which says that the grand prize for the top donator at a charity drive is a pool party at Chris's house with Sonic. Chris says that it makes sense that they take advantage of Sonic's popularity. And I love Sonic's reaction to this. I also sink like a rock, so no pool party. Again, Sonic's a selfish dick, because he should just be happy that they're, getting people to donate to charity. He could say, have a pool party, but I'm not going to show up. Or, I'm not going to be in the water. Chris surprisingly relents and says he'll call up his dad and explain, because apparently charity is overrated to him. And Flynn writes Sonic atrociously out of character again, because Sonic thinks he looks terrible in picture, which would never ever happen. He doesn't look like he's covered in mud in that picture, and he's now having a bad hair day. Sonic's supposed to be vain, not like this. Sonic is told he'll want to be at the pool party because Eggman won the charity drive. If it's that easy to get Eggman to donate to charity, then he should have a charity drive with a prize like that every day. Seriously, Eggman would probably give up eventually, but still, if you can get Eggman to donate to charity, just keep doing it. At least he's using his funds on something good for once. It seems like he has potential. Well, it does make sense that he would get a lot of illicit money, and he would take that as the perfect excuse to be with Sonic and antagonize him, or try to steal stuff from Chris's house. So I'm glad it was justified properly, instead of Eggman just showing up for no reason and pretending he's being nice and having a pool party with him for no reason. Sonic's robots, Eggman's robots, continue their trend of making smarter plans than Eggman, because one of them thinks Eggman will try to drown Sonic in a pool, naturally, while another thinks that he'll roast him on the barbecue. Well, actually, that's not smarter because Sonic will be surrounded by his friends, and there's no way they'd let Eggman get away with that. He'd need to use giant robots to do that. He'd need to use a bunch of robots to prevent them from getting at him. One of the robots suggests using Sonic as a tennis ball, and Eggman yells at them and says that this isn't about Sonic at all. He tells them to look at this, and one of them says, "You mean the article about Sonic?" Yeah, and this isn't about Sonic at all. The pool party is just an excuse to get close enough to try to steal a new engine that was made by Chris's family. I like that when Eggman shows up at the pool party, the heroes naturally glare at him. But come on, Eggman's an international terrorist who broke out of prison, so why aren't the police going after him to try to arrest him since they know where he is? Everyone should be assuming that Eggman stole the money he donated. Though, money that's donated is still money. It's not like it's fake money, so ironically, Eggman did a very good thing for once. Eggman easily gets Chuck to tell him that he keeps all his inventions in the workshop over the garage, when Chuck should immediately be suspicious that Eggman wants to steal from him. This is pathetic. It's not like he's the nutty professor. He's a generic guy who happens to be a do-anything inventor. Why would Chuck tell him this? At least Porker immediately realized he told the villain something he shouldn't, and immediately warned Sonic about it. Then Eggman is distracted by the sexy when he sees the maid who wants to sunbathe in a one-piece. She's not skinny, sure, so I don't know how he was distracted by the sexy, but maybe he thinks her face is attractive enough that she distracts him anyways. Plus, he's large too, and would be very love-starved and lonely since when does any women want him? And this was foreshadowed by him easily kissing her hand one time, so it makes sense. It's just that this would work better if she looked better. I like Chuck's reaction to all this. It makes sense. He wouldn't want the risk of Eggman successfully wooing Ella. It would just be tedious because she's supposed to be a good guy. Then Tails treats Boko and Deco like friends, asking them why they were so sad. He never has a thought bubble explaining that the reason he's being friendly to them is because they do more harm to Eggman than good, And again, in the comic they usually don't do anything, detrimental or not. But when they do stuff, it does inconvenience Eggman at times, like in the circus episode and the one where they were fired, where they were basically as good as double agents. The robots are bored because they can't swim because they're not waterproof. Even though they're his main sidekicks, and even Scratch and Grounder were waterproof. And Tails is so nice that he decides to make Eggman's robots waterproof. Why would you give Robotnik that advantage? To be fair though, I understand why I'd want to be nice to them, and these aren't super threatening robots to the point where making them waterproof would screw the heroes over. Tails is told that Eggman puts fail-safes in the robots to stop any modifications. Even though I don't see how that would be a problem because all he'd have to do is make hydrophobic spray and spray at the outside of them. How would those fail-safes inconvenience him at all? Modify the inside of them. But instead, Tails just says he'll be careful and turn a part off for safety. So, because of forced writing, since there's no way he'd need to modify their insides in the first place to make them waterproof, it would have made more sense if he was trying to reprogram them to be good. He ends up activating a program to force the robots to go chase him. It would have made some more sense if at least Tails was actually planning to reprogram them to be good, and he just said waterproofing as an excuse, because why would he think he needs to do this, to waterproof them? And Tails makes me sad by saying he'll never do anything nice for them again. It's not their fault. My intelligence is insulted because I'm expected to believe Chris's family didn't hear Tails calling for help, when I think he would be yelling, and Chris's parents show they can't cook without burning the barbecue. Which is a nice moment giving character to them for a change, because it shows that there are such spoiled rich people that without the maid's supervision they can't cook at all. I can relate to that. They need more moments like this. By the way, I like that Bo-kun was drinking too much lemonade and that was what he did in the story. I'd rather he do something actually important though. Eggman tries to order Sonic to compete with him in a diving contest so he can impress Ella, and in order to force Sonic to agree to it when he never would, Chris sides with Eggman by saying he'll go first and help Sonic back to the surface. And this makes Sonic agree. Why would you ever humor this monster? This is so out of character. All of the people diving into the pool causes a massive tidal wave, which ruins Chuck's engine, even though, well, they could still get the engine itself and discover how it works. And it traps Chris on the roof. And Eggman is told to leave because of the problem he caused, as I wonder how the robots are remotely okay after being splashed with water. Didn't they just say they weren't waterproof? And the story ends with Eggman staring at a bunch of pictures of Ella he somehow has. Even if he used flying invisible cameras to take those pictures. Well, I guess she could have been looking at them because they'd be invisible and she wouldn't know she was looking at them. Never mind. And I guess Eggman only has that world's best boss mug because Bo-kun wanted to suck up to him after what he did earlier. This issue was by Ian Flint, and of course it had a few out-of-character moments. There's no reason Chris and Sonic would willingly humor Eggman the way they did. They would just tell him to take off. Sonic can't swim, so why would he ever agree to dive into a pool? Especially after he almost drowned in one in the first episode of the anime. That was dumb. He wanted to have this big conclusion where the story ended with a giant tidal wave from the pool, but it doesn't make sense that this even got to happen. But I guess it's less lame of an ending than the pool party just ending because it ended naturally. And Eggman didn't get the chance to even try to steal the engine because he was distracted by Ella the whole time, who logically shouldn't have distracted him at all since she's large and has short hair. But Eggman's standards probably aren't that high. I'm sure he's never even had a girlfriend. Eggman could have tried to steal the engine and then failed because the engine was too big for him to carry by himself, which would have been very logical and made sense. And the robots who would have tried to help him carry it would be too busy. Like, maybe they'd be too busy. Well, no, there's no way that can make sense. They clearly told Tails that they have fail-safes, so there's really nothing to justify them going after him. While the story wasn't exactly epic, it was interesting seeing Eggman at a pool party with Sonic and Tails, with Tails trying to be nice to Eggman's robots. I mean, that was weird but interesting. While it's weird to have Sonic and his friends act nice with a major nuisance who should be the most hated enemy, Eggman hasn't done stuff that will really earn their absolute hatred for a while. Like killing or roboticizing people they love. Even though he did threaten to destroy the city, which is pretty messed up, he's still not running the world like an evil dictator at the moment. All he really does with his life is make Sonic's better by giving him exciting, thrilling action to enjoy. And cause collateral damage to buildings, that's a problem. The point is, there are a lot worse Robotniks out there. Maybe that's why it's not totally unforgivable that they're playing nice with Eggman here. It's not like he's Robotnik, he's just Eggman, the joke. But logically, the whole story never should have happened. Because Eggman's a well-known terrorist fugitive, so there's no reason he'd be given the pool party at all. If anything, the pool party would be given to the one who donated the second most amount of money. It's not like Eggman needs an excuse to go to their pool. He could go there without needing permission. And it's not implied that Eggman threatened with robots and missiles to get the pool party. And they could always double-cross him and say he can't have it the minute he stops threatening them and disarms the robots. So I guess in terms of making the story happy, this was the best he could do, short of brainwashing Chris's family to agreeing to it. And that would have made more sense, but also have the AOSDH problem where it destroys the logic behind Eggman not taking over the world because he's capable of brainwashing people now.